Welcome to all. In this lecture, we will discuss about the object modeling using the UML. So, before discussing about the modeling using the UML, we now understand about the object-oriented modeling concept. So here, the basically in the recent years, the object oriented software development style has become very popular, and as at present some being widely used in the industries as well as in the academic circles also. So the basic advancement to the object technology gathered momentum in the 90s, and the technology is now nearing some maturities. So, right, well, basically, it's well known that the mastering and the object oriented programming language like the Java or the C++ rarely equips one with the skills necessary to develop the good quality object oriented software. So it is important to learn the object oriented design skills well. And once a good design has been arrived at, it is easy to code it using an object oriented language, and it has now even become possible to automatically generate much of the code from the design by using case tools. So in this form, to arrive at a satisfactory object oriented design solutions to a problem, it is necessary to create a several types of the models. A model is basically constructed by some focusing only on a few aspects of the problems and ignoring the rest. So the model of a problem is called an analysis model, and on the other hand sides, the model of the solutions like the code is called the design models. So the design model is generally obtained by the carrying out iterative refinement to the analysis model using design methodologies. So basically, in the form of model constructions, we need to carefully understand the differentiations between the modeling language and the design process. So basically, there are two types of the two terms we have used here, like the modeling language and the design process. Modeling language generally describe a modeling language, basically a set of notations using which design and the analysis models are documented, and a design process address the basic issues like the given a problem description and how to systematically work out the design solutions to the problems. So basically, model can be documented using the modeling language and like the UML, Unified Modeling Language. So here we first now discuss about the basic object-oriented concepts. Uh, so the basic principle of the object-oriented have been founded on a few simple concepts. So where we describe three basic concepts like the object, and the classes and their relationships. So here first we describes or we understand about the objects. So in the object oriented approach, it is convenient to imagine the working of a software in terms of the set of interacting objects and uh, just give an example. For issuing a book and issue, some registers need to be filled up, and then the return date need to be stamped on the books. So in an object oriented library automation softwares, uh, analogous activities and involving the book objects and the issue register objects take place. So each object in an object oriented program usually represent a tangible real world entities such as some library members, books and the issue registers and so on. So uh, when you're working on the objects, there are many advantages for of the considering a system as a set of objects, like when a system is analyzed, developed or implemented in terms of the objects, so it becomes easy to understand the design and implementation of the systems. So since objects provide an excellent decomposition of the large problems into small parts. So basically each object essentially consists of some data that is private to the object and a set of functions and that operates on those data. So basically each object stores some data and supports some certain operations on the stored data, like again we considered as a library member examples. So here we can say that the library member is an object of our library automation applications. So the private data of the library member objects, like the name of the member, membership number, address, phone number, email address and so on and so on. So the operations supported by the library member objects like the issue book and the find book and the return book and find membership details and so on. There are many operations performed in this particular objects. So the data stored internally in an objects are called its attribute, and the operations supported by the objects are called its method. So the terminologies associated with the object oriented are very simple and well defined, and basically it is similar to the classes. So all the object constituting a class possess similar attributes and the methods, like a set of all library members would constitute the library class library member in the library automation application. And in this case each library member object has attributes like the member name and the membership number and the membership address and so on, and also has the method like the issue book, return books. So once we define a class, it can be used as a template for the object creations. So now next question is arises like the whether a class is an abstract data type. So here we must first be aware of the basic definitions of the abstract data type. So basically abstract data type is the abstract data and the data type is the combination of two forms. And in programming language, a data type identify a group of variables having a particular behavior, and data type can be some instant to create a variables like the int is the type in the C++ language. And an ADT is a type where the data contained in each entities is abstracted, like the hidden from the other entity. So basically the class supports the two mechanism of an abstract data type, like the abstract data type, as we already discussed about the data types and the abstract data. So abstract data, that means the data of an object can be accessed only through its method. And in data types, it in programming language terminologies, a data type define a collection of data value and a set of predefined operations on those values. So in the method formats, generally the operations supported by an objects are implemented in the form of methods. So the implementation of the responsibilities of a class through the multiple methods with the same method name is called the method overloading. So the method are the only means available to the other objects in software for accessing and the manipulating the data of the another objects. And there are number of class relationship exist. So the here we mark some 4 ways of the class relationships, like the inheritance and the association and links and the aggregation compositions and the dependencies. Inheritance feature allow one to define a new class by incrementally extending the features of an existing class. So the original class is called the base class, and the new class obtained through inheritance is called the derived class. And the derived class is said to be inherit the feature of the base class. So base class is generally said to be a generalizations of its derived class. This means that the base class should contain only those properties that are common to all its derived class. And each derived class can be considered as a specializations of its base class, because it modify or extend the basic properties of the base class in the certain ways. So therefore the inheritance relationship can be viewed as a generalization specialization relationship. So There are many associations links are exist. um, Basically, association is a common type of the relation amongst the class. So when two classes are associated, they can take each other helps to serve the user request. um, so we can say that if one class is associated with the another bidirectionally, then the corresponding object of the two classes run each other identities as results. It becomes possible for the object of one class to invoke the method of the corresponding object of the other class. If we give an example, like the student can register in one elective objects. So in this example, a class student is associated with the class elective subject. So therefore, an elective subject object would know the IDs of all the subject students objects that have registered for the subject, and can invoke their methods such as some print name, roll number, and enter some grades and so on. So this relationship has been represented as the associations and the linking format. So when an object knows some other object, so it must internally stored its IDs. Alright, so there are different common types of the associations. Here we perform some n array associations linkings, where we represents the basic three associations links, like the binary associations and the ternary and the unary association. So generally binary association between the classes is very commonly encountered in the designs problems. So there can be situations where three or more different classes can be involved in an association. So this is an example of the ternary associations. Here consider the the example, like a person book tickets for a certain shows. So here an association exists among the class, person, and the tickets and show. So this example basically of the ternary association relationship, and a class can have an association relationship with itself. This is called the recursive association or the unary association. So here we consider, just give an example, like the two students may be friends. So here is an association named friendship exists among the pair of object of the student class. So the unary associations, basically two or more different objects of the same class are linked by the association relationship. And association generally describe a group of similar links. And alternatively, we can say that the link can be considered as an instance of an association relations. So next one is the compositions and the aggregations. Composition and aggregation represents the part and whole relationships among the objects. So the object which contain the other objects are called the composite objects. uh, just like take an example, like a book object can have up to 10 chapters. So in this case, a book object is said to be composed of up to 10 chapters objects, and the composition and aggregation relationship can also be read as some a book has up to 10 chapter objects. And for this reasons, the composition and the aggregation relationship is also known as has a relationship. So the aggregation and the composition can occur in a hierarchy of the label. So that is an object contained in the another objects may itself contain some other objects, and the composition and aggregation relationship cannot be reflexive. That is, an object cannot contain an object of the same type as itself. And next one is the dependencies. So the class is said to be dependent on the another class if any changes to the letter class necessitate a change to be made to the dependent class. So a dependency relationship between the two classes shows that any changes made to the independent class would require the corresponding change to be made to the dependent class. So the dependencies amongst the classes may arises due to various causes. So the two important reasons for the dependency to exist between the two classes are like the method of a class may takes an object of the another class as an argument, and a class implement an interface class. So in this case, the dependency arises due to the following some reasons, like the if some properties of the interface class are changed, and then the change becomes necessary to the class implementation the interface class as well. So this is about the basic terminologies which are used in this one. So now next one is the other key concepts of the object oriented program development approach. Like here the first other key concept is the abstraction. So abstraction is the selective examinations of the certain aspects of the problems while ignoring all the remaining aspects of the problems. So in the other words, we can say that the main purpose of using the abstractions mechanism is to consider only those aspects of the problem that are relevant to a given purpose, and to suppress all aspects of the problem that are not relevant. So the abstract mechanism allow us to represent a problem in a similar way by considering only those aspects that are relevant to some purpose, and omitting all other details that are irrelevant. So many different abstractions of the same problems can be constructed depending on the purpose for which the abstractions are made. So the abstraction mechanism cannot only help the development engineers to understand appreciate a problem better while working out solutions, but can also help better comprehension of system design by maintenance teams. And abstraction is supported in two different ways in object oriented designs, and the basic features of the abstractions, like the data abstractions, features abstractions. So If we talk about the data abstraction, uh, basically an object itself can be considered as a data abstraction entity because it abstract out the exact way in which it stored its various private data items, and it some commonly provide a set of methods to other object to access and manipulate these data items. So we can say that the data abstraction implies that each object hides from the other objects the exact way in which it stores its internal information. So this helps in the developing good quality programs, as it causes some objects to have low coupling with each objects, and each objects only provide a set of methods which other objects can use for the accessing and the manipulating this private information of the objects. Like for example, a stack object might store its internal data either in the form of an array of the values or in the form of a linked list. So other objects would not know how exactly this object can store its data and how it internally manipulates its data. So the important advantage of the principle of the data abstraction is that it reduces the coupling among the various objects. Therefore, it leads to reductions of the overall complexity of design and help in the easy maintenance and the code reviews. So now next key components is the encapsulation, and in this the data of an object is encapsulated within its method. So to access the data internal to an object, other objects have to invoke its method and cannot directly access the data. So the encapsulation features protect an object variables from being accidentally corrupted some by other objects. So this protections includes the protections from the unauthorized access and also protections from the problems that arise from the concurrent access to data, such as deadlock and inconsistent values. So here is the two basic concepts are there, like the data hiding and the weak coupling. Data hiding means the encapsulation implies that the internal structure data of an objects are hidden, so that all interactions with the objects are simple and standardized. And the weak coupling is the object do not directly change each other internal data, so they are weak coupled. Next one is the polymorphism. So basically polymorphism literally means the poly and the morphism. So there are basically two types of the polymorphism in the object oriented, and in an analogy manners in the object oriented parallelism, polymorphism denotes that an object may respond very differently even when the same operation is invoked on its, depending on the exact polymorphic objects to which the call gets bound. So here we discuss the two types of the polymorphism, like the static polymorphism and the dynamic polymorphism. Static polymorphism occur when the multiple methods implement the same operations, and the dynamic polymorphism is also called as the dynamic binding. So in the dynamic binding, the exact method that would be invoked on the method call can only be done at the run times and cannot be determined at the coupling time. So the next one is the advantage and disadvantage of the object oriented design concept. So basically in the object oriented design, there are number of advantages or the main reasons for the popularity of the object oriented designs, like the code and the design reuse. In this form we can simply recreate and understand the objects, and they also increase productivity and easy to of testing and the maintenance also, and better code and the design understandability. And the basic disadvantage also for this is the principles of the abstractions, data hiding, inheritance. So do this cause of the of project oriented programs to run a little slower than the equivalent procedural programs. So this is about the advantages and disadvantages of the object oriented design concepts. So as we already discussed about the UML, so as the name itself implies, UML is the language for the documenting model, and we described UML in detail in the next video.